And they work by doing jobs that they're going to learn a skill that they can use when they get out. Might be culinary. All of our meals are prepared by our residents. Could be warehouse work. We just had 3 men complete fork driver training through Blue Ridge Community College that came out and did fork tests. So now they're OSHA certified forklift drivers for 3 years. So they can go out and get a job once they get through our program. Housekeeping. How many times do you see ads for housekeeping help or cleaning help and stuff like that, right? We're training them in things that are useful for when they get out. So, excuse me, we do face issues, obviously. We do have guys that come in on things, obviously. And how we handle that is, we keep it as controlled as possible for us. By that I mean, it's a case-by-case basis. There's no hard and fast rule. If they show that they are wanting their life to progress, if they show that they want to get help, then we'll say, okay, you can stay here. We're still going to test you a lot to make sure that you are progressing how you want to progress, but we'll do everything we possibly can if you show us that that's what you want. If they say, no, I don't want any part of that, okay, good luck. Now that may sound harsh, it may sound like we're kicking them out. That's not the case, because once again, we're all about them taking responsibility for their own actions. We work very closely with Day Report Center, with the parole and probation boards, things along those lines, to make sure that the guys are staying up to what they're supposed to be doing when they say, okay, I'm going to Day Report, I'll do a random check to make sure that's where they're going. I'm going to talk to my probation officer. We'll call the probation officer. We get all that information and sign in so they know. We've had great success. We had a gentleman, 2 years, came into our program, completely addicted to heroin. And for 2 years, started slowly getting off of it, getting himself off of it, found a job, which he's even said to me many times, I didn't think I was ever going to work again. Right? Found a job. And a couple weeks ago, he relapsed. One mistake. Relapsed. Now, did we instantly, okay, get out? No. We've put him back into the rehab program. He now goes to Reform Unanimous each week. His job, we went down and, tried to talk him out of being fired and the boss. Luckily, we had a relationship with him, listened to us. So now he still is able to go to work in a controlled environment. We know exactly the way it works. He comes back to us and goes through, and then he'll be able to work himself back into the full-time program. He's still in guest status right now. So we want to help these men as much as we possibly can, but they have to be willing to take responsibility for their actions as well. It's a two-way street with us at the rescue mission. Any man can come into the building that needs help. Any man can come into the building that needs shelter. Anybody can. And once they walk in, we start saying, this is what our expectation is if you want to stay. And if you want to meet those expectations, then we'll give you everything we possibly can to help you get out and become a better member of society. And finally, after the encouragement, we like to set an example. We like for our men to set an example as well. Some of you who follow us on Facebook may have seen recently, some of our men were down at the Foundry on Queen Street, helping clean up the back down there that's getting ready to be renovated. Some of our men have gone to help set up and tear down for God's in the Park and God's in the Square. We like for our men to get involved with the community as a way of giving back for the things the community has given us. We don't just want to take. We want our men to lead by example. We want them to go out there and say, I am helped, and I want to now help. And that's what all discipleship's all about. That's our word, kind of the word of the mission is discipleship. That's what we built the entire program around, is turning men into disciples for Christ so they can help those who are going through the same struggles they're going through, who are going through the exact same addictions they're going through. And they can say, this program, which is led by God, it's not led by myself, It's not led by our superintendent. It's not led by any of the employees that we have that are great there. It's led by God. It is Spirit-led, Christ-centered program. This is what helped me. And anyone else who might be struggling out there can come in and get the help they need as well. I know we've talked a lot about lack of resources, and we struggle with that every day as well. You know, somebody comes in, and I know one of the big things is that short-term rehab lack of resource that's in this area. You know, there is no, you have the high-end, high-dollar one, and then the one for nobody. And there's nothing there in the middle. And we struggle with that every day, and we know that. We're trying to help with that. That's one of the things you want to do, but it has to be done in a biblical, Christ-centered way. And that's what we base our entire program off of. So, anybody have any questions?
So I did not know that Martinsburg, you were talking about Martinsburg.
Yes, Martinsburg Union Rescue Mission.
I've talked to you before, I'm sure.
Yes.
But I did not know that you had a program. So are you saying after they're there 7 days consistently, then you start working them into the program, to an actual program?
Correct, yes,
I did not
yeah.
know that.
Yeah, after 7 days, they take the drug test and then get into the work rehab program. We will assign them a duty. We'll do a skills assessment for them. You know, what are your areas are you good at? What do you need to work on? It's kind of a both approach. And then we will assign them an area that where their skill, as best we can, will match what they're telling us. Yes.
So I know also people can come before 7 if they need a place to stay, like especially in the winter.
Right, emergency shelter,
Are they
yes.
separated from the people that are actually working the program, or they kind of are grouped together?
It's a dormitory style situation. We have a dorm that we try to keep just for the guests, just for the emergency and overnight guests, but sometimes we do get too many in the dorm and it has to flow over into another dorm. Our building is set up as a dormitory style situation. We can house 85 men at one time. This is how many we can house at one time.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
So I work with Westminster, Maryland Rescue Mission a lot. So
Okay.
they have a set program linked to theirs. You guys don't?
Not yet. Well, we have long-term goals that we can't really talk about, but you're touching on one of the long-term goals, yes.
Okay, perfect. Good news.
Yes.
I noticed that some people that we work with, they don't have ID. Is there any way that the community can help, or you guys, or they can have a system where when the person's in the process of getting their ID, they can still have a place to stay?
Yes, well, yeah, if they don't have an ID, they can stay with us. What we require them to do is go down to the police station and get verified. They go down to the city police station, and we have a very good working relationship with the police. And they'll just go to the front desk and say, I need to get verified for the mission. And the police will either give them a piece of paper that has everything on it, or they'll call us and say, I am Joe Smith standing here, he is who he says he is. And then they just come back and check in. Absolutely. Yes.
I thought director, when I talked to the director, he might have said that sometimes you can even help them get outside resources for rehab. Is that true, or did I misunderstand?
We don't force them outside for rehab, if that's what you're asking. We can kind of put them in contact with people, okay. But that's the extent of it that we get involved with. We don't have in-house case managers or anything like that deal specifically with that.
You have a list of resources?
Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Charlie, can we just take a short break?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Need a break.
Yeah, Laura, where's your next person?
The music, we're in it with the music. That's it.
Oh, okay, cool, that's fine. Yeah,
So we can start. Charlie, we can go ahead and start with Brother Marquis and Carrera.
We're not gonna take a break?
We're going to go ahead. Right?
You can go ahead, I mean, I need to set up the camera for them, but,
You need to set up another camera.
no, I just need to adjust my,
Just Mike?
Just